Welcome everyone to the second live stream on the channel. Thank you guys for being patient. We're still working out some, technicalities and everything like that when it comes to the stream. This is all new stuff, so I appreciate you guys being patient, but we have a lot to go over today. Trump's indictment is set to be announced as early as tomorrow. And we're also going over the recent video, talking about racism in the United States and talking about basically, is it okay to be white? We're going to be reacting to that with my guest, Lisa. But before we jump into that, we're going to be hanging out today. Or tonight, it's going to be a late night. So just hang out, kick your feet up, grab a beer, grab a drink, whatever you got. Before we jump into the stream, make sure you guys are joined over at my locals community, jamesklug.locals.com. If you guys are watching this, there's a link down below. It's free to join. It takes a few seconds to join. Please consider joining. We already have over 500 members over there and over 20 paid monthly members. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. That's jamesklug.locals.com. Support the channel for as little as $5 a month. Greatly appreciate you all. And if you don't want to give money, go join for free. You get awesome additional bonus content, such as our post filming wrap up for my recent video. So go check that out, you guys. jamesklug.locals.com. Lisa, I have a guest joining the stream once again. Lisa Reynolds, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? Fine. Happy.
Yeah. It's doing as good as you can for the chaos that's surrounding the nation right now. So we have a lot to go over in this stream, not just the reaction to my latest video. And we're going to go kind of step by step, a walkthrough, almost like what is it, like a director's cut, a live reaction, whatever you guys want to call it. We're going to go over that, but we are also going to talk about Trump's potential announcement, or the announcement of his indictment tomorrow. And we'll talk about that for a bit, and then we'll jump into the video. But I have here from Trending Politics. Oops. I have here from, you're still getting used to it. I have here from Trending Politics. It's like just you. Breaking: Trump indictment set for Wednesday, will be told to surrender. What do you think? Do you think that this is going to be announced tomorrow? Do you think they're going to keep delaying it? What are your thoughts on this, Lisa?
So they heard from their last witness. The grand jury heard from their last witness on Monday, and I guess they were supposed to be deliberating still.
Yeah, Costello.
There were speculations that Costello might be called back Wednesday. But from what I understand, they're definitely going to indict him. I mean, they can't go this far. Their base wants him indicted. And so it would just look like they're running scared now for whatever. So they're definitely going to indict him. It's just a matter of when. And if they announce it tomorrow or Thursday or Friday, I think they only meet Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So if they announce it tomorrow or Friday, then he will work with his lawyers to, find a time to surrender, since they denied the Zoom request, which clearly means they want to make it a show anyway. So.
For sure. I mean, they're going to do anything to get that photo, that image of Trump's mugshot. And to be honest with you, it will go hard. There will be a lot of T-shirts made of that. We'll talk about if it'll benefit Trump or hurt him. I know poll numbers are already showing his approval rating skyrocketing after the announcement of this, potential indictment. But I was talking to Nico about this, in kind of like them opening the door to this. I'm not surprised in any way. I think that the January 6ers were definitely a test for political persecution and what they can be getting away with, as like a nation. Is the nation gonna absolutely freak out, or is their media machine gonna be able to keep it all under control? This is just the next step, similar to Alex Jones being censored and what Americans did after that, kind of just sitting by and watching that happen. And then fast forward to today, a handful of months ago, we're seeing a literal ministry of truth being created under the Biden regime, similar to that, to where they test the waters with J6ers. And now this is the next move. They say, political persecution. They are opening this door. Once they open this door, they cannot close it.
That's really true. The funny thing about it is, you said January 6th was a litmus test, and it was. But what's weird about it is, like, they did that to make sure that we never rose up and protested again. And everybody's like, don't go. It's going to be a trap. And I guarantee that it probably will be. Right.
Right.
But
for sure.
For sure. How crazy is that, though, that they made it work? Like, we're letting them. So we're letting them say, you know what, we scared you into never protesting it. We're letting them win by not doing it. So what do? Do you go and you go fall in a trap? Or do you say, nah, we're doing it anyway? It's such a catch-22. Either way you look at it, it's not good for us. And we let them do that.
No, you're so spot on there. And I'm actually guilty of even taking to Twitter and saying like, hey, like don't do it in person. There are other ways for us to make them know or make them pay. Like I brought up the Freedom Convoy, but just in general, I think that's a wrong take. And I think you're totally right. I think like what you're saying, like, they made us afraid to go in person, to protest, right, to speak out and fight against this.
And there should be something that we should do about that. And people in the chat are like, oh, this is all a distraction from something bigger, right? Well, that may be the case, but this is huge. They are weaponizing. We already know that they've weaponized the FBI against parents, right? They've weaponized the FBI against Catholics. They've weaponized the FBI, the IRS against conservatives in general, right? They've been weaponizing the government against us forever. This is like the biggest egregious one that they've done so far. And if we don't do anything about it, there's no hope for us. I keep saying that there's no hope for us if we don't fix the elections, and that there's no hope for us if we let them do this. But there is honestly like no hope. That's why I get to be like an accelerationist after a point, because all right, fine. Let's have it all. Let them have it all. Let's have a collapse, and then we can start over from there. But
it's funny you mentioned like some people have mentioned that for sure. It's distracting from everything else that's going on. Sure, let's just say that that's the case. If that is the case, this is the biggest distraction possible. That's actually worth also focusing our attention on. Like I mentioned, they're about to open this door. Once you do, you cannot shut it. This is one of the. I mean, we've seen. You're providing examples of the Biden administration being more authoritarian than any administration that the United States has ever seen, sicking the FBI against the American people, literally participating in systemic censorship programs or colluding with tech to get their way. We've never seen anything like this. And this is just the next step of, holy crap, we're slipping into a banana republic.
They were colluding with people and entrapping people basically to kidnap a governor, like Governor Whitmer. Do people just forget about that? Like they have been doing everything possible to crazy.
You mentioned it. You mentioned it last week. Sorry to cut you off, but I want to say really quick. You mentioned this last week of like there is a laundry list now of just the most insane things that all like dwarf Watergate. And it's just a laundry list to where we're forgetting about it. And one reason why we're forgetting about it is because of just the media machine and the way that it works, right? If roles were reversed and this was Trump's administration, we had the left-wing media, they would never let you forget any of these points that are happening. They would never let you forget any of these things. But the fact that we don't own the media, we're not even close, it's you're not being reminded unless your small bit of media is reminding you. Lisa, I do want to read a super chat right here from the Cuban conservative, super chatting $5. Cuban conservative, thank you so much. He says, as a Cuban, this is very familiar to me. Welcome to the new America, which is turning into a totalitarian third world country. Americans don't allow this. And it's so sad seeing, especially like coming from like the Cuban community, not me, individuals coming from the Cuban community, seeing all these red flags, right? It's as obvious as can be. And I think in the last video, which one was it? What was the last video that we did? With the lady. Grading Joe Biden. The lady coming in there and being like, "Yeah, I grew up around this. The everything's free mentality. They figured out that they could buy your vote, and it's just it is a slippery slope from there on. And all these people that fled these authoritarian regimes, they see this from a mile away because it only goes in one direction every time."
Oh yeah, like just like you said, if the roles were reversed, they would be killing us, right? And now, so we have people pushing back. Jim Jordan sends out a letter. Now he can have subpoena powers, but he can't have subpoena powers for criminal matters. It has to be legislative. So the way he worded it was like tricky. And now the left is already coming out saying that he's abusing his power and they're going to come after Jim Jordan for writing a letter and involving himself in criminal matters because he's only supposed to be involving himself in legislative matters. And they will stop us from fighting back. They will stop it. I think it was like Michael Knowles who said
they're like politically persecuting people and they'll punish you for trying to push back against it. It is so absurd. And I think it's also important.
You look like the crazy people.
Yeah. You look like the nut jobs. And that is a part of the power of dominating the media. They own the media machine. You couldn't get away with this, right? This does fall back on us. You know, this falls back on previous generations, letting the left dominate every aspect of our lives. I was mentioning the other day, I mean, what industry do conservatives dominate? I think we have the chicken sandwich industry for Monday through Saturday. I don't know who dominates on Sunday, but it's certainly not us.
Some Hobby Lobby, but Hobby Lobby's getting weird lately too with their weird ads.
We might dominate some low end furniture. Great. Like we don't dominate any industry that controls our lives, and they couldn't. If the right was trying to do this, right? This is everything that they're doing right now. We hear this all the time, but it's so true. Everything that they're doing right now is exactly, like to the T, exactly what they were saying Trump was going to be doing. And if Trump tried any of this, Trump and Republicans, first of all, they have a lot more of a moral backbone than the left does, to where they would be calling out their own administration for being authoritarians. But let's just table that. Trump's administration would never be able to get away with any of this because they dominate the media. That's the power of this. They control the propaganda machine. So they can tell the people that this is totally fine. This isn't a DA that's, this is a DA that's just, what are they saying? Nobody is above the law. That's the argument that they're running with.
They were there outside of Trump Tower today with a big sign that said, nobody's above the law. The protesters that came out were protesting Trump. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
That's why I get so mad at the right when they're like, oh, don't, it's a trap. Yeah, okay. But what are you supposed to be locked in your house forever? What are you supposed to go along with vaccine mandates and jab yourself until you're sick and having heart attacks all the time? Like, what are you supposed to do? You have to do something to push back.
Right. And
I'm not saying take on or anything, but you have to start doing something.
No, and people say, they bring up, okay, well, what will it do? What will it do? What will kicking and screaming do? Well, it's doing something rather than nothing at the very least. Let's just put it that way. I do think that there's very effective ways of protest when it comes to, like, I'll mention the Freedom Convoy, right? But there are other ways of protesting, which is fantastic, but doing something is always better than doing nothing when you're literally facing an authoritarian regime. And I also think, Lisa, I think it's important for us to clarify what is the matter with, what makes this political persecution. We have a Manhattan district attorney, right, that is notorious and also advertises that he's soft on crime. This is a Soros-funded district attorney, which, how many times are we going to say that? It's like they're dominating every major city. That isn't prosecuting prostitution, isn't prosecuting resisting arrest. When it comes to felonies, they're downgrading those to misdemeanors. And then here we have a misdemeanor if indicted, or if charged, from 2016, which they're talking about here, right? And the statute of limitations in the state of New York is 2 years for a misdemeanor. So that would fall under 2018. And then 5 years for a felony, which is still out of range from that. But that's why they're trying to attach it to a campaign finance situation.
You know what's even more interesting real quick, though, is that they had everything, all the evidence that they're using to charge him now. They had it 2 years ago. They had two district attorneys that resigned because they said that Bragg was tabling the Trump stuff indefinitely. And so they resigned saying, we think we have enough to charge him. We should do it now so it doesn't undermine the integrity of the office and whatever. But they are strategically doing it now so that it affects him all campaign season, so that he could potentially be arrested, and so that it will line up to the 2024 elections. I mean, if you can't see that that's politically driven just by the timing of when they're dropping it and how they're timing it out, like, I don't know how people are just ignoring that. Like, unbelievable.
Yeah, another major point to hammer down on here is talking about how this is literally, I think, their third or fourth attempt. They had Mueller looking into this. There wasn't sufficient evidence. They had the South District, I believe, of New York that looked into this, and then now they have Bragg going after it, seeing the opportunity there. And of course, we all know that when it comes to a far left grand jury, you're seeing indict. It's basically guaranteed. It's basically guaranteed.
Georgia looking into him too. Apparently, there's some charges they want to bring up now in Georgia. I mean, it's all timing, all leading up to campaign season. It's all done for a reason, and it is completely weaponizing our system. It's lawfare.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Show us the man, and we'll do our best to find the crime. I honestly, I'll be totally honest with you. At this point, with how much they've investigated Trump, I'm honestly surprised that they've had even this much trouble with a billionaire trying to find something. Like the guy is. You got to give it to him, because this is you hold any multimillionaire or billionaire up to this standard, I would guess that they would find something. So I'm actually just impressed on the face of it. Lisa, I wanted to touch on this really quick. DNC Clinton campaign agreed to steal dossier funding fine. Now, can you guess how much the fine was for this?
13,000 is what it says.
113,000. Okay. This is during the same time that they're talking about with this quote hush money, which I even would debate on whether or not it's hush money because it's such a low dollar amount. But this is during the same time. And this was for manufacturing a literal propaganda campaign that made the FBI follow down that path, spending millions, if not tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer money investigating this. This is what the DNC and the Clinton campaign created. This is what they created, and all they ended up doing was agreeing to pay a fine for this.
You know what's funny too? Like, that could fall under other types of crimes too. I mean, that could be libel. He could have pressed charges against them for libel, and he didn't. There were so many things that Trump could have done to press charges against Hillary and whatever. And he was like, you know what? It'll be bad politically. It'll motivate their base. I'm above that. We're not doing that. And he should have nailed them to a cross. He should have done everything he could to take them out. That's why I like Michael Knowles things. Go after, find governors that have people to prosecute, high level Dems, and go after them and start indicting. We have to start playing by the same rules as these people. We have to go for the jugular. We have to play as hard as they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to the point of the media, we have a super chat for $5 from Sith Lord Todd. Mr. Todd, thank you so much, sir. Sith Lord Todd says, the first step to a dictatorship is to control the media. They dominate. That's what he said. And very well said, Todd. They dominate the media. They can put out whatever propaganda they need to get the narrative. They get out. You'll notice that they get out a 5-word catchphrase that's easy to consume, that the general public can just say like, okay, that's fine. I get that. And you don't need to watch CNN or MSNBC to consume this information. You go onto YouTube homepage. All of the mainstream media dominates all of these very public areas, and it hammers it into your brain. What are they telling everyone right now? The catchphrase that they have right now is nobody is above the law, completely ignoring the nuance and the obvious corruption of the situation. The conversation's much more nuanced, but to explain it, you have a few paragraphs to explain it. That's not as easy to consume for the general public. So all these propaganda outlets just repeat the same thing, and they just get that little catchphrase out there, and that's all people remember. And it kind of that's partially why I go out there and do those street videos, is to unpack these talking points that people are just fed. But they're brainless at that point. They just regurgitate what they're hearing.
The funny thing is when they say no one's above the law. Okay, well, if we're actually going by the letter of the law, this is a misdemeanor, right? It's not a felony charge. It's not anything that should be anybody should be spending jail time for. It's a campaign finance issue, which, by the way, Hillary Clinton quietly took care of hers last year too, right? So we're not following the letter of the law. By the way, I wanted to put a little shout out to one of yours you missed, which was the same thing, and that was Shitlord Tato, which said the first step to a dictatorship is control.
That's the one I just jumped on. There was another one that I'm getting to here in a sec from Mr. Patrick.
I thought you read the other one.
Yeah, no, we actually
the same thing. So I just didn't want you to forget him since you went out of order. That's
no. You know what? I actually fixed the chat for this stream. Nico over here, he's out of shot. We're gonna get Nico a microphone here soon, so he can you know, if he has anything to say, we can give him. Yeah, he can chime in.
They're both right.
Yeah, really quick, Patrick Conway, and he says media should allow a third party on the stage to debate, if not a fourth and fifth as well. Put a wrench. Hold on. Put a wrench in this divide and conquer BS. Patrick. Absolutely.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. But I totally agree. The
problem is that the funny thing is people don't realize that the media, it's only been ramped up lately. Like you said, they are testing how much we can tolerate, right? They've owned the media since the Nixon days, okay? They've had control of the media for so long now, and they keep testing the waters. That's what they do. They nudge, and before you know it, you're hanging off the cliff. And if you even try to push back, you're toast, right? That's where we are. People have had their head in the sand for so long. I used to remember that my mom would say a long time ago, oh, people wake up. Remember when everybody was saying wake up, people wake up.
Right.
Well, we were 15 years too late waking up ourselves. And for the rest of the people that aren't paying attention, we're past the point of wake up, people. I think that's why people don't even say it anymore, because there's what can we do now?
What needs to follow along with wake up? I totally agree with it. It's great. That is a start. Okay, but we're way past that. We have enough people that are awake. There needs to be action that follows, and what you need to do is combat every institution that the left's dominating. I say this every single time, and I probably say it too much, but it needs to be said over and over again. Get involved in tech, education, media, whatever it is. Everyone can do their part, and we have to start somewhere. Unfortunately, we're starting now, to where they dominate 95% of all of those industries that I'm talking about. Unfortunately, we're starting now, but we have to start, or else this is game over. We do have there's an issue with the boomers, but there's also a great thing with the boomers right now. The boomers kind of just let all this happen. It was the live and let live kind of thing. That was a beautiful idea, except for your enemy was taking over because they wanted change. You didn't. You liked the way that things were going. The boomers enjoyed it. They living their lives. That's the way it's supposed to be. But when someone wants change, they're going to go ahead and make moves towards that change. So now they're dominating all these industries, but we can thank the boomers because they are holding on to the Republican vote to add some sort of, common sense voting in this world, or in the US. But we have 20 or 30 more years of them. The difference needs to be made now. We need to start making the moves now. We have about 20 or 30 years to make this change, because they're dying off and we're going to be left with Gen Z.
There's so I do a lot of Twitter spaces.
Yes.
And I was in one the other night, and someone was they were like, Jack Posobiec stole my idea. And their idea was really radical. And I'm not saying that I endorse this, but think about how much power we really do have as people. Say Trump gets indicted, right? They announced his indictment. If everybody that's a conservative pulled all of their money out of the banks, all of it, right? We would crash the entire banking system. It's already in trouble. Right?
Yeah.
If you want to send a loud message, then that's a way to do it. Now, granted, you'll get penalized and taxed on the money that you withdraw or whatever. But if people were really serious and they thought that it was that big of a deal, I mean, I don't know how great that would be.
Did he get backlash? A bunch of backlash?
World into whatever, but what?
Did he get a bunch of backlash for saying that? Because I didn't see any more conversation about any of these other ideas. Not just what you're talking about there, but he brought up a couple other things that I saw. I haven't seen any movement. I think a lot of people are just kind of waiting to see what happens, and if something happens, it's okay, we need to do something now. Because like I mentioned, they're about to open this door to, the banana republic, creating, turning the United States into some banana republic, if we're not already there. And people need to be pushing back on this. But we're going to be in more trouble anyway soon. We are really at banana republic.
levels anyway, not just because of this, but because of the Biden administration's policies with interest rates and spending and all that. Now, like, it was just Swiss Bank just acquired Swiss SBU or whatever it is.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that.
There's like a banking contagion that's happening anyway. Like, we are in a lot of trouble, and people have no idea how far we've gone and how bad it is because of this administration.
For sure.
So, I mean, like I said, sometimes I feel like I'm an accelerationist. Like, let's just get it done. I'd be happy to draw out all my money out of the bank, but I don't want to be responsible for like crashing the world.
The biggest problem I see. The biggest problem I see with the like accelerating it is it's working with the idea that they're going to learn their lesson, and they will not. They'll destroy the country, and they're going to turn around and say it was you. That's what they're going to do. So nobody will ever learn their lesson. That's why it's worth fighting for. The idea of like, okay, yeah, let SF do their $5 million per descendant of slave, bankrupt themselves, destroy a community for like probably the next 50 years, all these consequences. Why not like voice your opinion, speak out about this nonsense? And it's like, dude, because they're never going to learn their lesson. They're never going to learn their lesson, and they're just going to blame you for it, or you're going to get punished for it in some way, because that ideology spreads to whatever community that you're in.
Yeah, when I talk about like an acceleration, I was talking about like the fall of Rome accelerations, right? Like, I'm talking about wild, like letting it all fall apart. Like, I'm not just talking about like let them have liberal communists and be kind of happy in La La Land. Okay?
The Elmo with the flames in the background, that GIF.
Yeah, like that, like let it burn. Like, take all the police out of every city and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like, you want your policies, have them.
Lisa, we got another super chat from Sith Lord Todd. Sith Lord Todd, you are the man. I greatly appreciate the super chat. For $10. Quote, "It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system, for if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning." Henry Ford. Thank you for sharing, Sith Lord Todd. Very
100% accurate.
Good drop. Lisa, really quick, we do have Rand Paul calling for the arrest of New York District Attorney Alvin Bragg. That's the corrupt DA that we were talking about. And I know before we went live, we were kind of looking at this, just saying, what this is showing that you have teeth. And Rand Paul never disappoints when it comes to showing that he has teeth, being able to speak out for what's right. This is just another example of what people like Republicans in Congress should be doing. There's no more staying silent. Things are about to get a lot worse. And maybe we can talk about the consequences or possible benefits for Trump here in a minute, but things are about to get a lot worse for the nation as a whole. And this is more of the rhetoric that we need to be seeing from Republicans to put pressure on the Democrats, to put pressure on these DAs that are really, this, like we said, this is political persecution. It demands pushback that is necessary. This is a necessary call for action when it comes to a pushback for what's going on here.
Yeah, I don't know what charges they'd get him under. I mean, they could definitely, more force him to resign. Fun fact, I love Rand Paul so much that he was in the 2016 primary. He was my guy. Like, I had his bumper sticker, like magnet on my car, like even above Trump. Like, then he was off the ballot, so whatever. But yeah, Rand Paul he's my absolute favorite. But he has teeth.
Yeah,
he really does.
I think the rhetoric is important, right? It's that rhetoric that's saying we're not going to stand for this. It's essentially what you're saying there. I understand, like, sometimes like empty, call to actions or whatever can be a little bit silly, but in this case, we need something rather than nothing. Like, it would be another example of this would be DeSantis saying, no, absolutely not. You can't take Trump. Another example would be him doing that. Maybe he doesn't have the authority to do that as the governor, but him speaking out about that would be in and of itself a very powerful message.
He really disappointed me with his statement. And I say that, like, I get it. Trump has been low blowing him, accusing him of being a pedo or whatever he's been doing.
Super cringe.
Cringe.
Super cringe stuff. Yeah.
Super weak behavior from Trump that I don't like. But for me, this was an opportunity for DeSantis to look above the fray. Like he's supposed to be the above the fray, above Donald Trump BS, and he absolutely did not deliver. If he just showed that he has the same egotistical mannerisms. Why can't I talk today? As Trump does, but without like the flair for drama, right?
Right.
So he's basically not as he's falling into a trap where you could have been said, this is above us. This is about the American people. This is about them weaponizing the government. This is about them taking a step too far. And I'll do whatever is in my capacity, right? You don't have to like name what you're doing, but say whatever is in my capacity to make sure that our judicial system isn't undermined, right? But he didn't do that. And I've never been a DeSantis fan because I've known him for like ever, but
he might have just kneecapped his his whatever he has aspirations for the presidency. He might have just kneecapped that. We'll see
what they forget. Like the election's 2 years from now. Like a lot can happen in 2 years where this will.
That's a good point.
Bridge. I mean, that happens all the time. It really comes down to like the October surprise and where things are leading up to there. But he hasn't even declared yet, by the way, right?
Well,
right?
Yeah, but he's for sure. He's not just gonna end his what was he can't run for governor again. So he's not just gonna sit tight for 2 years and then run when he doesn't have as much momentum. He's for sure gonna run.
Yeah, well, he would have to, if he's going to run, he has to resign. And he promised those people that he'd stay. So he's going to hold out as long as possible until he can actually like enter the race. And that's what it wasn't even Trump that was like going after him. It was a PAC or whatever. But they reported him to ethics saying that he's running a shadow campaign, which by the way, he kind of is running a shadow campaign. Like everybody knows he's running. He's fundraising off things that are not just Florida related. So he is doing that. I don't think that the PAC should have like reported him, but like,
you don't think that it will hurt DeSantis at all, depending on no matter when he runs. Let's say he runs. You don't think it'll hurt him in any way to totally just feed Trump to the wolves?
I do. Here's what I think. I think that right now, anybody that was on the fence about Donald Trump, any of like the MAGA people that like my mother, who was like, you know what, I've had enough of the nonsense, right? I want somebody young, somebody with fresh ideas, blah, 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 blah. Now, she was kind of like in DeSantis for a minute, but she got off his train and was on Vivek's. But now she hates DeSantis. And there are a lot of people out there that are like, you know what, he lost it for me. I was giving him a chance. I was waiting. I was kind of seeing, and he totally fell flat. Now, maybe some of those people will really hold tight to that. I'm probably one of the ones that would hold tight to that. Like loyalty to me is everything. And it's not just being loyal to Trump, it's being loyal to the people. So that's huge for me. However,
sorry, keep going.
He could do something amazing. He could do something, I don't know, huge within the next 2 years that really shifts everybody's opinion. So when I say, yes, I think it'll hurt him right now, I think it'll hurt him. Some of that may linger, but if something else happens, it may be an afterthought in the grand scheme of things. Okay, he was having a beef with Trump, he let it go, whatever. So we don't know how that'll play out. But for right now, people are really disappointed, to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the poll numbers that we've seen, there's been a couple polls that have come out in the last couple of days. Specifically, I believe today. I wish I pulled it up, but I know. It's already made a difference on Trump's polls when it comes to 24 presidential run. He's already gained more support because of this. I'd be curious to watch how it unfolds over the next week or so to see if it maintains that way. My guess is that it will, in fact, re-energize his base and get them going, backing up Trump 100%. I mean, Elon Musk has come out saying that this is guaranteeing a win for Trump, and perhaps that's what the Democrats want. Perhaps they want, Trump to 100% be that candidate, and perhaps that's why they're doing it. I seem to think not. I don't think there's some big plan. I think they just want to see him behind bars, to be quite honest with you.
No, like we said last week, the Trump derangement syndrome is real. And they have, like if you lie to yourself enough, you believe it, right? For sure. They have lied to themselves and they have convinced themselves that he is Hitler. Like that's what they think. They think that he is that bad. Yeah. And so, I mean, they'll do anything they can to, like, if you could go back in time and, X off baby Hitler, would you do it? Most people like on that side would be like, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So, I just.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, I don't even remember.
I was going to say also, I mean, a popular talking point that we're seeing on Twitter and from the left right now, one that they're being fed, that's not just the nobody is above the law, is, lock her up people and the arrest Fauci people are now complaining about Trump getting in trouble and stuff. And I think about that and I'm like, first of all, creative argument. It's kind of fun, right? That's a good, okay, yeah, good jab. The only thing, well, it sounds good. The only thing is when you unpack it, it's complete BS. These people forget, right, that for 4 years, I would go to protests talking to people. They were so off the rails for 4 years, and then even continuing to this day, you would go to protests where a fake Trump head would be on a stick bleeding. We had celebrities that were holding his decapitated head. They were shooting him in music videos. Do not lecture us on any rhetoric coming from anybody from the right when they've been losing their minds the last 6 years. It's as though they forget. They literally forget like anything that happened a month ago, and in their heads they're like, "Oh, it's you guys that have been calling for this, not us." And they forget about all the rhetoric the last 6 years.
They're still calling him beholden to Putin.
Right.
Like all of that Russia
Yeah.
was proven completely false time and time again. And they're like, oh, he's, B word, right? Like these people are insane. They don't listen to facts. They don't listen to reason. There's nothing rational about these people whatsoever. Like we talked about this before. They don't know what a woman is, right? They think that men can get pregnant. Like they have totally lost also. It's kind of like in 1984. By the end of it, they're like, tell me how many fingers I'm holding up. It's like 5 or 4 or 1 plus, I think it was 2 plus 2 is 5, right? That was the thing.
Right.
These people have convinced themselves that 2 plus 2 is 5. They have. Yeah. They believe it wholeheartedly.
Yeah, it's that postmodernism that's really... They've created this toxic environment within their own culture, in the United States, where it's their truth is the truth, and you're just the exception. What they believe at any time is the rule. It's the reality. It's the way things are. It's like, dude, how can you be so off the rails to where you don't even acknowledge your own biases? And I think a big part of that, going back to the dominating the media, they have all of this, media surrounding them, just telling them that they are right. I'll talk to people in the street all the time that will tell me, oh, it's a New York Times. I check out New York Times, objective journalism. It's good stuff. It's not biased. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, it's as biased as it gets. Like, you might as well tell me that you watch Vox. You know what I mean? But they don't see that. They don't process that because what they believe is truth. And that's it. That's the end of the story. I have a super chat here, and then we're going to move on to don't read that one. The video. Lisa, we have a super chat here for you. $2. Thank you so much to, what is it? Ethos. $2 super chat. Thank you so much. I love Lisa's new hair color. Let's go, Lisa. You don't know? Okay.
I honestly, he's the only one person I've ever blocked on Twitter ever.
Who, this person?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, whatever. Thanks for the super chat.
He's been going around. He had a little video that he put out, hot conservative bitches. That is actually a banner, to be fair. But he drives me crazy. Anyway.
Okay, ignore. Well, thank you for the super chat. That was a nice thing. There you go. All right, we'll take the win where we can take the win. So you guys, if you are enjoying the live stream, we're hanging out for a good amount tonight. So make sure you grab a drink, kick your feet up, relax, have a good time. For super chats, we'll pause the stream to read super chats. So if you guys want to support the channel, or if you have any questions or want to just contribute to the conversation, definitely throw in a super chat there. Anything else? Is that it? How's everyone doing? You guys throw a like on the stream so we can, I don't know, let the algorithm gods know that the stream is good and people are enjoying it. Hit that like button, smash that like button, they say. Smash that like button before we move on. Okay, so we are going to be talking about the last video, and we meant to do this reaction last week. Streaming's new. I'm dumb. Couldn't figure it out. I was trying to fail, whatever. Anyways, we got the stream figured out. We're good to go. We're going to be reacting to my last video, and that is it okay to be white? Now, this video blew up. And I think it's kind of along those lines, Lisa, of like the can only white people be racist topic. And there was the reason why I did it is there was a big poll recently that hit the news from Rasmussen asking Americans that very question. And they had it broken down by race, by political ideology, saying, do you agree or do you disagree with the following statement? It is okay to be white. And their findings were actually pretty shocking. Not so much from Republican to Democrat. You would imagine there'd be a little bit more Democrats that would say, no, it's not okay. But not that was the slight difference. The biggest shock here was we have right here a tweet from Rasmussen. It's okay to be white. Now, this is Black Americans only, okay? Now, with this poll, they found that only 53% agreed, 26% disagree, and 21% not sure. Look, I don't know what people are saying not sure. I don't know why they're not answering that. Maybe they're just like confused by it or something, I guess. It seems pretty straightforward, but only 53% agreeing is a problematic figure. So what I decided to do is I decided to go out to a liberal area. The poll was, I think, Democrat +5, so it was a Democrat-leaning poll. So we decided to go to a Democrat area. Los Angeles is where we took it. And I asked this question to people on the street. Now, my results, we'll jump into those in just a second, but I was pleased that we weren't that close to baby. It's got busted. I was pleased that it wasn't like that. I was pleased that it wasn't that close to what they had here, but we'll dig into all of that in just 1 second. Lisa, do you have any comments on this before we jump into this?
Well, so it's a perfect example of like the left losing their mind and not understanding reality. Like you have people in your chat and we have people on the tweets that were under that saying like, these girls are trolling you, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, have you people never been in the real world? Have you? I mean, like I live in Philadelphia. Okay. These are typical responses from people, 100% typical.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know why these people thought that specifically, some of the women in there were trolling you. They 1,000,000,000% were not. I swear on my children, that's how people talk over here. So
yeah,
you can go into it with that, but like it's one of those things that reinforces what we were just talking about, that people are stuck in their own delusion. They don't want to believe that people are bad, and they don't want to believe that the system's messed up, and they don't want to believe that Black people can be racist too. But guess what? They can.
Yeah.
So, and the Diller guy, he also got his life ruined. He was talking about the poll, said exactly.
Yeah. No.
Stay away.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad. How do you pronounce his name again? Was it?
I forget what his real name is. I just call him the Diller guy.
Diller.
I'm sure somebody will put it in the chat. But then again,
yeah, if you guys can put it in the chat.
Yeah, there was another woman who was reacting, and she said, I think it was this week, and it just came out. So I forget what her name is. She's famous too. But she said the exact same thing. She said, I think that Black people need to get away from white people. And nothing happened to her. She's still praised and lauded, and he lost everything, right? So, and there's a double standard here. The way that people react in this video, if white people said half the things they said, even in jest, even if I give it to the people in the chat or in the tweets that would say these people were joking, if a white person said that, they would be canceled. Their lives would be ruined. They would be unhirable forever. And there's just that Scott Adams is the guy. There's just that delusion that people have.
Scott Adams.
Yeah. The Diller guy.
Yeah, that no 100%. And if we saw some of these responses just on it's crazy that you're mentioning he got his life completely destroyed, canceled within like literally 12 hours, maybe even less than that. Okay, so he got destroyed. But anybody roles reverse, and you hear that all the time on primetime TV late at night on MSNBC. It's just common, it's typical. But, you're white and you say something similar, you're destroyed. Let's jump into this. So, you guys, we're going to do a reaction to Is It Okay to Be White? And last week, the reaction went way too long. So, Lisa, I've shortened it up. I've picked a handful of moments that I wanted to highlight in this video so we can, we're not spending like a million years going through the entire thing. But let's jump into it. Intro. Here's how it starts. Let's do it.
Do you agree or disagree with the following statement? It is okay to be white.
No, that's not okay. It's terrible to be white.
No.
No comment.
Yes, it's okay to be white.
Really don't care.
Yeah, it's okay to be any color.
It is okay to be white.
Disagree.
You disagree?
Yes. I mean, that was a hell of a question.
Yeah, but
Okay, so far we have two ladies that are black that are saying absolutely not. And you don't really know kind of what's going on there just yet, but we do have the white savior. And that guy's falls under that category on the poll of just being that white person that's a self-hating white person that just doesn't, they are ashamed just because they're white. Dude, could you imagine just being so miserable walking around every day, being ashamed of something that like has nothing to do with you, but you just have that looming over you every day that you walk around?
Dude, he's awful. I hated him the most.
He's
I hate
awful.
him the most. The lady that is the most like blatantly racist in here, like I appreciated her. She was 100% honest and authentic. At least she says it, right? Fine. I don't like that society has a double standard, but if she doesn't like white people or me, whatever, more power to you. I don't care as long as I know. I'd rather know than keep it like quiet. This dude is what's wrong with America.
Yeah.
He's self-loathing, white savior, white knight, gross people. He's the worst. Honestly.
Literally.
I'd rather take the racist over him any day.
Yeah. I'll probably agree with that one. Next.
y'all got too much. Yeah, y'all got
Who
too
wants
much.
to be white? That's awful.
No.
Okay, so why is that? Why is it not okay to be white?
Y'all have the race as a people. Y'all have done too much. I would rather, yeah, as a whole,
And it's a group of people.
Too much good or too much bad?
too much bad.
The majority is not.
Is like bottom of the barrel, really.
Bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
And why do you disagree with that?
It's just where it's the whole privilege thing. It's just, time to give it to other people.
It is okay to be white.
Yeah, so he sticks with that the entire time. He ends up doubling, tripling down, but these girls right here, this lady literally hates white people, but when I'm asking about it here, she's obviously saying that she doesn't like white people because of they've done too much. Examples that you'll see, Lisa, are like the history of violence or taking it like wars back in the day or whatever, or let's say slavery. It's all these reasons. And when she's saying too much, that's more of what she's getting at when she's saying that. Now, I'm like you were talking about, I'm impressed. I mean, she has balls to be saying that. We have two white guys filming this video. The cameraman's white, I'm white, obviously. And you're saying this right to my face. What you're getting at when you come to like, hey, at least you're telling me the truth. I mean, holy hell. We don't like the double standard. I don't like racism, obviously, but you got to give it to her. She is not afraid to give her freaking opinion. And no, you guys, she is not joking. I spent 5 minutes talking to this lady, having her double, triple down. This isn't some like plant in the video.
No, people think because her delivery is jovial that she was joking, and that's not it. That's her trying to soften the blow with her humor there. That's what she's doing. And by the way, to me, that's like Northeast. That's how we all deliver blows, right? Like we all do it the way that she's doing it. And so it doesn't come off as harsh, but that's that woman's personality. Like, I'm sorry that people really are ridiculous and think that she's joking. Just because her delivery was in a funny way does not mean that the words coming out of her mouth wasn't joking. If you saw like 10 seconds ago when she was saying, you've done too much, and the other girl next to her gets a serious face and like, she's like as a whole, and she's trying to dig deeper into why they felt this way. That's not a joke. That's not like what she's saying is she's trying to unpack it for you in a serious way. And then they layer in humor so it doesn't sound as bad, but it is as bad. And the reason the one girl like eating her ice cream turns around and like looks at her when her friend continues to say things is because she's like, I can't believe
she's shocked that he's saying it on camera.
Right. So like they're not joking. It's ridiculous that anybody even thinks that. I'm sorry for you people who got to think that. I'm no offense to you guys, but it's honestly, it's ridiculous. Maybe you haven't been around people that act like that.
Also, I feel like I talk to enough people to where like I will give them opportunities to backtrack, and I will. I'll be. I've given this girl in this video. I give her a lot of opportunities to backtrack, to tell me she's joking. I even asked her at one point. You know, it's like, trust me, if I'm trying to figure out if they're joking or not, they'll probably let me know. They're not just gonna sit there and say, "Yeah, that's awesome, man. Everyone on the internet's gonna know I'm racist now." But hey, it's just a joke. Not really. But I did want to touch really quick on a popular thing that I have heard since filming this video. We've done a video talking about reparations, which is coming out soon. Spoiler right there. But a lot of people will mention, they'll mention slavery, they'll mention wars, they'll mention any sort of violence, they'll mention colonialism, like all this stuff, right? And it's like, I think for some reason, they've been taught that nobody's violent when humans are just violent in general. I don't know. Did I pull this up? I was going to talk about just really quick, pointing out the Rwandan genocide being in the 1994. There was like 800,000 people killed in Africa, and that was as early as 1994. So to pretend that like white people are the only people that have done anything, they always talk about this stuff when it comes to like Native Americans or anything. Everyone else is perfect, and it was just butterflies and like everyone's getting along. Life's not that way. Don't let anyone lie to you about that. What was that?
White people were slaves. Does everybody forget that white people were slaves in England? Did everybody forget that slavery has been happening? And the people that put a stop to it were the British and the Americans. Like, slavery was all over the world in every single culture since almost the dawn of time, since biblical times, right? Like, it's been around forever. This was nothing new to Americans. And it wasn't like just like white Americans and white British were responsible for this. Everybody did. And I'm not excusing it. It's an awful practice. But God, what about all the people that gave up their lives to stop it? Doesn't that count for anything? Doesn't all the white people that fought in the Civil War to end slavery, don't their lives matter for anything? Like, it's just so ridiculous to me. And you know, here's something to say about
we're talking about like 10 to 15 generations, depending on how you define generation as well. Like, we're talking about like 7 to 10 or whatever generations ago as well.
Right. But if you bring Rwandans over to America, they'll do well here. They will do well here, regardless of the color of their skin. Just like, what's the other ones that do really great here?
Nigerians
do great here.
Well,
right?
the Nigerians on average make more than white Americans.
Right. Africans that come, that are not African Americans, but that come from Africa and live here now, they do fantastic. It's not a color of your skin thing. It's a mentality thing. You have to take advantage of all the opportunities that are here for you. And trust me, there's a ton of them. So it's so frustrating to me to think that the Irish had it bad. The Irish were redlined. The Italians were redlined.
The Irish, when they first came in like the 1800s, 1700s, they were indentured servants.
Right. And I'm not saying that they had it as
awful.
The slaves, but I am saying that they were marginalized too, and people seem to take advantage of the opportunities given to them. Look at the Chinese, the Japanese, right? Like, they come over, we had them in internment camps. They do better than we do too. Like, what is it about this culture that they are stuck in that mentality that they can't rise above it? I don't understand. And I know it's not everyone, right? Because how many people do we have that are on our side that we're friends with that like agree with us, you know?
Yeah.
It's just a nightmare. And
well,
I'm sick of our fault for everyone.
And it truly has everything to do with culture. It truly has everything to do with culture. That's really it. All these, you know, white people have done too much, slavery, reparations, whatever. Any of these conversations is just to get away from any conversation surrounding the rewards when it comes to good culture, family values, valuing education, all of these great things. All of that is tabled because they want to just blame everyone else. Next clip.
White.
Are you guys white?
I'm white, yeah.
That's how you guys out here. Why is asking the question? I don't care to be myself.
No, but at the end of the day, yeah, it is. It is okay to be like
you, dog. What do you guys?
Okay, I just had to show that guy really quick, just because I think that's like the funniest response. Because he's actually he was one of the few people that was like, "Wait, you're just asking me if it's okay to be yourself?" That's literally what you're saying to me right now.
Right.
Most people, I think, see it that way too. I mean, you know, it wasn't a totally negative video, so. I think most people saw it that way. You have to be ballsy like these people to say something about it in front of a camera.
The craziest person was the white person.
Yeah, I agree with that. He'll be popping back up here in a second. Also, we got a super chat from Eric C. Do we know Eric C as well, Lisa? Do you just have all these trolls in the chats? We have $2 super chat. Thank you, Eric.
No, he's nice. Eric C is nice. And Mr. Stella is back. I figured out that Stella wasn't a woman. It was a nickname that was from wherever I read the comments, guys.
It's a guy.
So see that, Stella's Mr. Stella's his last name. So hi, Stella. We are happy to have you back.
Stella, thanks for coming back in the chat. Thank you for coming back in the stream. We appreciate you. Shout out to Stella. But Eric said, will Lisa consider going to church with me? I don't know. Possibly. Lisa,
I do go to church. I go to mass, though. I'm Catholic. So.
Ew. I'm just kidding.
People always give me, especially on our side, they give me crap for being a Catholic. But guess what? I'm Catholic. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you have all sorts of guys that are Catholic. You have Doyle. You have Posobiec. You have a handful.
ALX. I took ALX.
ALX is Catholic. There you go.
Deal with it.
What should I do about that, do you think?
Try not to be white.
Rachel Dolezal.
That's all you could do at this point.
Is it okay to be Asian?
Nah, you don't want to be them either. Mm-mm. Nah.
How about black?
Definitely that. That's it. It's all you could be. It's the coolest thing to be.
She is having like fun on camera. She's having fun with me, but she's being serious.
Like she's funny. Like as the Asian guy walked by, like right behind her head, and her friend's like, "Oh my God, she's saying this in front of them." And yeah, she's being funny about it, but the overall there was truth to it. So keep going.
Yeah.
You really after that you talking bottom of the barrel, really. Asian, that's probably worse than being white, ain't it?
I feel like it's okay. Yeah.
Is it okay to be Asian?
Asian? Yeah. Of course, because I'm Asian.
This is just a Japanese tourist that we ran into. He was so shocked by the question. He didn't understand what was going on, but I was like, yeah, we'll ask him anyways. He was literally shocked. He's like, what are you asking me right now? Like, what? Sure, it's okay. I did like how his eyes lit up when I said Asian. He's like, oh yeah, it's great. It was awesome.
A lot of people that we would speak to today would call what you're saying racist.
Yeah, I am racist.
Are you serious? Or
100%.
So you just don't like white people as a whole?
No.
It's just a matter of color, and color shouldn't come in the way of anything.
Yeah. So how many times did I kind of allow her to back up from it? Like telling me that she's racist. Are you serious? Because I wanted, at that point I was like, she might be pulling my leg, but we're talking for a handful more minutes and she's obviously not. I mean, and this is, it's funny when it comes to this, there's a lot of Black Americans that are saying absolutely it is okay. But going back to that point, to say this on camera, you also have to be pretty radical when it comes to you just not caring at all. We did run into people that said no comment. We did run into people that hesitated, right? And to what extent did the camera and us being there have an impact on that? Probably pretty high. I'm not saying that it would have been like the world's difference, because still, like, a lot of people are decent, but still, you have to be really committed to say that in front of a camera.
Well, there's a couple things. You are comfortable saying those things because you have nothing to lose, right? Even if somebody that was white or Asian or something thought the same way she did in reverse or whatever, they have stuff to lose, whether it be their career, their whatever. But whatever this woman does, if she has a career at all, right? Like, who knows? But she clearly isn't afraid of losing it because she knows that's acceptable in the society and nothing is going to happen to her because of it. Nothing. Yeah, literally nothing. Again, if the roles were reversed, that would be, if that was a white person that said that on camera, you better have a job that, I don't even know what job's like not cancelable. People would have, first of all, the clip would have blown up way more on Twitter, but also that person would have been fired the next day. You'd have been destroyed. I don't care if I worked at McDonald's. I would have been fired for that comment. You'd be destroyed. We also have Eric C. Super chat again. Thank you, Eric C. Really appreciate the super chat. Would you go to Protestant church? Lisa, is that a question for you? I actually go to Protestant church often with all of my friends. So yeah, I've been to Baptist church and Methodist church. I will not go to Lutheran because they're crazy. But they're the ones that have all the They're the ones that have all the like Black Lives Matter and the trans stuff, flags outside and stuff. We can't go to that church, but Baptist and Methodist. Well, Methodist is kind of falling down too, right, with the trans stuff. So yeah, and they're really swarming that. Actually, they're making some way. I mean, if you go to a church in like, let's say, Los Angeles, that's going to be typical. I don't live in Los Angeles, but you will see churches around where that's just completely typical, and I think that's
what is that, just like a grift to where they're just trying to get somebody in there because everyone's so freaking radical? I don't know. But yeah, that stuff's horrifying. It's kind of that meme where it's like,
Eric, if I'm ever in your area, we can go to church.
There you go.
Was it
Awesome.
Eric? Is that who it was? Was it Eric?
Yeah, that's who said it.
Who
And
was it?
and by the way, everyone that's new to the stream, we're going over, is it okay to be white, picking some highlighted moments and just giving live reactions. So, okay, next clip. We have White Guilt Man. Give it a sec.
You're white, obviously. What can you do to change that? Saying it's not okay to be white. What can you do to change that?
Fund the United Negro College Fund. Leave your inheritance to African American people. Like the beaches, give them back the property that was stolen from them, African Americans particularly. But yeah.
Are you yourself planning on giving your inheritance to African American people?
Do all sorts of that stuff already. Yeah.
Why do you think some?
He didn't say yes. He said I do all sorts of stuff like that. No, you're not gonna do that, bro, because it's ridiculous. Are you serious?
You should have done what you did with the fake petitions and be like, okay, look, I've got here's a guy, I've got an account right here. Are you willing to sign up and give $100 now to whatever person? This whatever. You should have got these people to come up and ask him if he gave money to them. Like, honestly, these people are liars.
Okay.
They are virtue signaling liars.
Literally virtue signaling liars. Absolutely nailed it. A fake petition could be an amazing video for that. We were also talking, like, if we had somebody that was with us that was black, you could ask them to pay him right now. Like, hey man, can you just Venmo my friend here? He, pay up, minimum $25. Like, please just do it. And just watch them pressured into giving us money. He would do it. That guy would do it. He's so off the rails to where he would do that if we put him on the spot, on camera right there. 100% he would. But I mean, would you just look at that? There's so many of these people in Los Angeles too. Now, I'm not going to pretend like it was everybody, because it wasn't. It was, most people were saying, no, this is ridiculous. Such as this lady right here. I'll play this 5-second clip right here.
People are saying no to that question.
I don't know. That's probably a personal issue within themselves, because it's okay to be whoever you are.
You hear that within your own life?
Yeah, that chick's just blown away by that response, because she's just like, what? No, of course it's okay. Because she's a normal freaking person. But this guy's just so deranged, so left wing, and so filled with white guilt that he thinks that he needs to be their savior. He thinks that just giving stuff to this community is going to help him out. There you go. And just give everything away. Don't keep anything you worked hard for, or your family worked hard for. Don't keep any of that. They deserve it. And it's like, dude, you don't even know them.
He's not filled with white guilt. He's filled with superiority. Okay. If you want to talk about white supremacy, that guy thinks he's above Black people. That's who thinks they're above Black people. He doesn't think they're capable of making it on their own. So you have to give to their college fund and give them extra opportunities, and you have to give up some of your privilege for them. He's the one who thinks he's superior to them, and therefore he needs to, give his wealth there. That is a narcissist, self-serving, regular soft bigotry of low expectations piece of shit.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's okay. Honestly, it's a late stream. We can cuss a little bit, but no, you know what? And Lisa, you are 100% right about that. You are 100% right about that, because if they were above him in his mind, or at the very least equal to him in his mind, he wouldn't have that mentality. He wouldn't have that mentality at all. Yeah. I mean, he is a part of the problem when it comes to putting these people in a category of victimhood. He is a part of the problem. He's continuing this cancer on society.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Black people should say, we don't, if they really believe that they've been under the thumb of white supremacy forever, they should say, we don't want nothing from you. We would never take anything from you as long as I live. It's kind of like,
yeah, we're not seeing that though. We're definitely not seeing that from the Black community at all.
No, but if that's how you felt, you would want nothing from those people. You wouldn't even or you'd want to like ruin their lives. I mean, or whatever. But like, you really wouldn't want to, if when you're done with somebody, you don't want anything from them. Like when people have breakups and like girls are still holding on to sweatshirts, that's because they still have some like feelings there, right? Like when you're like, nah, here, box up your stuff. You can take it all back. I want nothing to do with you. That's because you're over it and you don't care. Like they can't actually think that that we have been like superior and still like want stuff. It's just wild to me. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I can't get over you bringing up the fake petition. I'm actually upset that we didn't do that. I mean, we should have emptied this guy's bank account. How funny would that have been, honestly?
That was my funniest clip from you I ever have, Diane. Like,
Could
I had tears coming out of my
you
face.
imagine?
We're spraying it with Lysol. Like, good. You must have sprayed the thing 15 times. I swear to God, it's my favorite all-time James Klug
What do you?
clip.
You're talking about the
COVID petition, whether we should like mask and
it
triple
was
mask
so
and put people in
good.
jail for triple masking, and then you took a Lysol bottle and sprayed the petition, and then you're like, and then you took a pause and you did it again, and you're like, that should be good. But you were doing it for like literally 30 seconds, and the ladies looking at you like you were crazy. It was amazing. It was my favorite clip ever.
Gosh, maybe we should pull that up in a bit. But when we did that live, that was my buddy's idea. He went and bought me that can of Lysol or whatever it was, and he was just like, no, please just do it right after you finish. We're getting a 3-mask federal mandate petition. The lady's like, well, yeah, 3 masks federally mandated, jail time for failure to comply. Sign me up. And I was like making sure she knew what she was signing. Signed the whole thing. And I think when we timed it, it was like 25 seconds straight of spraying the Lysol can on the paper after she signed it. And she's just like, yep, this is normal. This is cool. Safety
People
first.
are retarded in this country. It must be the food. It like honestly must be the food. We must be poisoning people so much that they are that ridiculously stupid. I have no idea. You know what's really
Nico,
funny?
can you pull that up? Send to me. What were you saying, Lisa?
This is just something I wanted to say. So today I was like driving, and there was like this, I don't know, little truck, this work truck in front of me, and it must have had like tar or like road something in it, and it smelled. All my windows were up. I'm talking all of my windows were up.
Responding
like
to
super, super closed, right? And I could smell that stuff in there so much that it was making me gag. And I'm sitting there, I am isolated in my car. This car is 2 cars ahead of me, and I can smell this. I'm breathing in these toxic fumes from inside my car. Do people really think that pieces of cloth over their face were going to protect them? It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't understand why anybody bought it ever. I never did.
I was flying home today from because I did obviously Timcast last night. And flying home today, and on the airplane, they were like, oh, and please respect everybody's decision to wear a mask or whatever it is. Please be respectful to people. And I was thinking about it. I was like, dude, these people were so sensitive and so aggressive at the time with that social pressure to make you wear that freaking mask. They would freak out if you didn't. And then now they're so delicate, that leftist fragility, dude. They on the airlines, they routinely say, please respect people's choices. You know, don't say anything. And I'm thinking to myself, that's literally so people don't call out like idiots for still wearing a mask on the airplane. Like that message is for them because they're so delicate. Dude, that whole thing was insane. But Lisa,
I'm calling for people to harass them. Honestly, like when I went into like the Bruno Brothers back in the day, I would yell at these people like, "No, I'm not wearing your stupid mask." Be mean to them.
No, it's actually I give them. Look, I'm a nice guy. Like, you know, I like to be nice to people, but I will looking at them just like, dude, what are you doing? You look ridiculous. You look literally ridiculous. And you're not even double masking, let alone triple masking. I mean, for God's sakes, how seriously are you taking this? So in this video, we have this is we'll get off topic right here just because this is one of my favorite moments. So I'm wearing 3 masks in this video, you guys. As you can see, I have a mask below. Yeah, I have 3 masks right there. And this lady's wearing her mask, and she is signing a triple masking petition. Dude, this video only did 57,000 views. This should have been so much bigger. This was like one of my favorite videos that I ever made. I think it got throttled by the YouTube algorithm at the time. All right, let's go ahead and, is this set to the right time?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh my gosh, best.
to Texas dropping their mandates. This is what we're pushing. 2 weeks to slow the spread. We're doing a 3-mask federal mandate that we're promoting. 3-mask federal mandate, and then sign right there. So print a name, signature.
It jumps around. There we go.
They'll wear another mask for another year.
Well, we're thinking, some of us are thinking 2 to 3.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
Then last
Fine,
one. This one's just for the enforcement. They'll come back. Okay. This is the mandate enforcement. So there's a 3-strike rule, basically, to enforce it, and then possible imprisonment for failure to comply. So
You know what? Don't follow the rules.
really appreciate it.
Get those masks that you have.
Yeah, so we just get these at Staples. They're pretty,
Staples?
yeah, they're pretty easy going. So
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, look at her just looking over. The thing is soaked. It's drenched.
All right, we're good to go. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
So good. So good. All right. Sorry, you guys. That was a little distraction right there. Throwback to the Liberals signed petition to mandate triple masking video. That one was just a gem. Yeah, I think that one got throttled in the algorithm because it just never took off. Like anywhere we would post it, it would do well in certain areas, and then on YouTube it just fell flat, unfortunately. But yeah, the petition paper, it was dripping. It was that's how wet it was. The thing was just soaking wet. Anyways, good stuff. Okay, Lisa, hold on. Let me get us back on track here. We got the white guilt guy. Okay, right here. Content of character. Here we go. Let's move on.
And he's not allowed to date.
Now, he could date who he want, but they can't come to my house, and I'm not gonna have no parts of it. I don't want no mixed babies. I want a black baby grandchild. That's what I want.
All right, everyone, let's take a quick
Oh
look
my
at
gosh,
today's
this
sponsor.
guy
We
kinda
all
set
know
this stuff.
crime is
Shout out to iTarget,
muscle
by the way.
memory percent plus free shipping. Let's get back into the video.
Yeah.
Yeah?
It's okay. You can be white, black, purple.
Of course. I'm white. I think.
Really quick, Lisa, I screwed that one up. But really quick about that clip right there where she's saying she doesn't want mixed babies or anything like that. I mean, is this not? This is a Fuentes argument. This is a what's the term called? Black separatist is what you call that. That is that argument right there. And look how openly you can just say it. Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. That's the rules of the game.
It is what it is. All right, so this is where we show the Rasmussen poll. We got a 1-minute clip right here.
Only 53% of Black Americans said yes to that poll. Does that surprise you or no?
No. It doesn't surprise me.
Really, it does. Black people are really racist.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Why do you guys think that is? Because that's obviously problematic.
Oh, maybe they think I'm more like a mind state instead of the color.
So maybe just
White mindset.
I love that question.
Well, if you would have asked me if it's okay to be black, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, why would it not be? I mean, it's just like kind of saying like it's okay to be black. Like
it's the exact same thing.
Exact same thing. There's like teaching people that like, oh, this one's bad, putting the others down. It's not right.
What was the results in the white people?
White people was 81% said yes.
All right, we'll leave it right there. So I wanted to show that I was basically clarifying it with people, showing them the results, everything like that. 81, in my opinion, 81% of white people saying yes to that poll. It is okay to be white. I mean, that's just all Democrats that are saying no, I would imagine, because they have a breakdown. They actually have a breakdown of who says what, and that's just going to be that self-hating
it's
and
ridiculous, but
or.
it's also It's ridiculous, but it's also denying that there is such a thing as in-group preference. Like everybody throughout like time, there's been all kinds of behavioral economic studies and things like that that show that people have in-group preference. The only people that are not allowed to say that they have any type of in-group preference is white people.
Well, it's the funniest. Yeah, it's a good point that you bring that up because people also naturally do stuff like that. That's why you end up with communities. That's why you end up with Asian communities. You know, let's say Irvine, for example. Literally, I think one of the safest communities in the United States. And it just so happens that it's a bunch of Asian people, upper to middle class, or I believe maybe upper class now. I don't know. But you know, people naturally do that as well, which is kind of funny in its own way.
You're just not allowed to say it. That's the thing. We're just not allowed to say it.
Right. It's a fact. And it's people like throughout history, everyone does it, but you're not allowed to talk about it.
Right.
Right.
Like, it's not okay to be racist.
It is okay to be racist.
But white people have made it where it's so easy to be racist. White people has put that foundation down, and it's just normal. I am scared.
Are you scared of me?
From my perspective, that's
Right there. You know, she's obviously not joking. This clip is actually one of them that really shows that for sure. I mean, the girl kind of says, I'm scared of him. And you know, like it sounds kind of funny. Her friend laughs. But when she's explaining to me how white people make it so easy to be racist, you know.
She was serious, right?
She was incredibly serious right there. And, you know, going back to that conversation that we had earlier in the stream about the mainstream media pushing a narrative, right? Why do white people make it so easy to be racist? It's because they're being fed that white people are bad every single day from the mainstream media machine. That's why she can think that. When you can easily say that about any other race. So, you know, if you feel like it, you know what I mean?
And the civil rights movement and feminism and the codification of the civil rights era legislation. I mean, they have, you know, whites admitting that, you know, they were responsible for the plight of Black people really did them a disservice. They, you know, I think that most people, when they signed up for that, they were like thinking, okay, you know what? There were atrocities that happened in the beginning. And if we just like say, you know what, we acknowledge them, then maybe we can all move forward and all this nonsense but it became this.
It was just the beginning. It was just the beginning.
Right. And it really, it goes back to the civil rights legislation and how it was codified into law and what those penalties come along with. And so now it's almost like I'm afraid to be not just, you know, asked for my job, but also penalized legally. And it's been a nightmare. The civil rights era legislation has actually been part of what is helping to further destroy our country.
And also a lot of a very popular argument that a lot of people bring up is the war on drugs, and they blame that on white people. However, Black leaders within the communities were the ones, or in many communities, that were pushing for crack to be, you know, seriously penalized because they wanted it out of the community. So it was a lot of Black leaders that were actually pushing for that as well. That was hurting their own community because that was obviously in the community, but they tend to just blame white people for that as well. It's just this misunderstanding of history and everything like that. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, well, there were definitely things that the government run by white people did too, like the crack in the neighborhoods and the testing them with the syphilis stuff. And, you know,
for sure, nasty stuff. Yeah.
There was some hesitation, like, okay, but that's still not like a huge swath of people, by the way, who, like I said before, you know, white people were the ones that put an end to the slave trade. White people were the ones that moved forward with the civil rights era legislation, right? Like, you know, the majority of white people were like, you know what, you get to live your life too. And for some reason, that just gets swept under the rug as non-existent because it's more beneficial in today's society. Did you lose me on my rant?
Maybe, I don't know. Chat, let me know if the system's breaking up here. But no, I got what you said. I got what you said. I was just trying to figure out I thought we were maybe losing it while you were in the middle of that. I was getting distracted.
But anyway, I have the same rants all the time.
Yeah, and I you know, I also think that when it comes to like the things that the Republican Party has actually done and what the Democrats have done as well, just in recent history. Like, didn't the Democrats filibuster the Civil Rights Act of 1964? Didn't they filibuster that for like 80, like for how many days was that?
Yeah, Lyndon Johnson is the one that like gets credit because he was a Democrat and he was president, whatever. It was all Republican Senate and Congress that pushed the civil rights legislation that voted it in, and people don't seem to know that either. So it was Republicans who passed the civil rights legislation. It was Republicans who, you know, freed the slaves. So and people just keep forgetting.
Yeah, well, forgetting or selectively ignoring. All right, a few more clips from this video that I wanted to highlight. I wanted to highlight this one girl because I just thought she was a gem within the video, talking about how people are just following the crowd. Like, they don't really know why they are saying what they're saying, or maybe they do and they're just brainwashed, but they know that the mob is saying X, Y, and Z, and so they want to say that as well.
Sorry.
I think
What do you think's going on there?
it comes from their background of the information being spread of like what our ancestors, the lineage, the history, and also it just comes down to what's being poured into their minds. If someone's drilling into your mind a certain a way or a previous occurrence or anything like that, if they're telling you that, then eventually you're gonna believe that, you're gonna become that, even if you don't know all the facts. You know, you're just going off of, a lot of people these days are followers. And so most of them are just following the crowd.
I can see why.
Boom. Nailed it. And it's so true. It goes on with that whole thing of like, you repeat some falsehood enough times, it doesn't matter that it's total BS. If you keep pushing it, you keep repeating the same thing for years and years, eventually people just kind of accept it. Honestly. Eventually, they just accept it for what it is. One example of that would be like the gender debate happening right now, right? Like trans women are women. If they keep repeating these things, people just get it in their minds, and eventually they just say, yeah, sure. To where you end up with that whatever podcast where the chick gets pissed off at that guy for saying, no, I wouldn't, sleep with a trans woman. I know I'm getting off topic there, but it's the same concept. They keep hammering down BS. It doesn't matter if it's true or false. They keep delivering that same narrative, and eventually people buy it. And you have the pressure of the mob as well that just gets you, okay, fine. I want to please the mob. I don't feel like challenging it. Yeah,
first it's like, just accept us. We want love is love. We want to love each other. Then it was get married, right? It's we want transgender to be in girl sports or whatever, and it's slowly moving to age of consent is lowered because of age of consent to at least transition is lower, and then it will be age of consent is lower to engage in sexual activity, and then they'll start normalizing pedophilia. I mean, that's what they do. They slowly nudge their way to whatever policy goals they have.
The power of a narrative right there. Nico, are we having delay issues or anything, or are we good? Okay. All right. 3 more clips.
I think I'm freezing a little bit, but that might be on my end.
Okay. Yeah, we're trying to figure out some technical difficulties potentially. Hey guys, let me know in the chat if the stream is coming out all right. If you let me know if there's any glitches or anything like that, let me know. Also, I keep seeing people recommending what to call the live stream. We don't officially have a name for the live. I just went with Klug Live or Klug Stream, whatever it is. So, if you guys want to keep throwing those in, I'll definitely be looking at those chats as well. Slight delay. Okay, there's an echo.
I don't think there's an echo. I'm listening to the stream back. There is a slight delay, though.
The slight delay.
All right, well, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. We'll deal with it. We're gonna refine the stream as we keep going along. All right, so we'll keep refining everything. Slight delay. Hopefully that's not. It's not that bad. Glitchy on the natural blonde. What the heck? What's up with the jab? Relax. Chat, how's everyone doing? What's going on? Still handsome James? Still a babe Lisa? That's huge. Thank you for thank you. Just people just hitting on it. No, thank you guys for the compliments. That's sweet of you guys. But yeah, okay. So, slight echo. There's no echo or delay. Focus, people. I like that, David Bush. He's like, focus. All right. A few more.
Let's finish up this video. See what we've got going on.
Yeah. We'll start chatting with the chat. A few more clips. I did want to. We'll skip this one. We'll skip that because we're gonna go on some white privilege rant. We'll skip this one. We're gonna jump here.
Racist to say that
Is it racist?
it's not okay to be white?
It's racist either way it go. Either way it go, either saying it's not okay to be white or not okay to be black.
Well, that's a good point. Either way it goes. If you say that about brown people, Asians, white, black, if you say that it is not okay to be, one skin color, that's a racist thing to say.
Right. Yes. Right.
They
Just gotta get better
Yes.
as a whole.
They can't do that. It's too late. There's nothing that can help them. It's too far gone at this point.
Room. Just stuffing her face, talking crap on me right to my face. Is it racist to say that? I mean, is it not a genocidal viewpoint to say that like it's not okay to be any color? What do you do about that? What do you do about that? With that poll, thankfully we're not finding the results to be reflecting the Rasmussen poll, right? And partially because we have a camera, but also, anecdotally for that day, wasn't that result. But when you're having results like this, it's okay to be white, and only 53% of Black Americans saying, yeah, it's okay. That is a problem. That is a problem result to have in the country, because you can't do anything about that, and there's nothing you can shift there. You're screwed. It's a genocidal viewpoint saying that they shouldn't exist. That's insane.
I think it's worse than what's reported too. I think that a lot of surveys, people always write down what they kind of want to believe or what they think they should, even though they're anonymous. If you look at the way studies are done, I think it's actually worse than that, at least in the major cities. I don't think that everybody thinks like that, but I think it is worse than what that poll is reporting.
For sure.
Like you saw people here, like no comment, or the one guy who was kind of trying to say, well, maybe it's not the skin color, but it's like a mentality, right? Like he kind of believes that it's not okay to be white, and he's trying to like rationalize it without actually saying it out loud. And you know what?
Right.
Like, I don't care at this point. I don't care what anybody thinks, like as a whole. But then don't start saying that the race problems are because of white people, when I would guarantee you that if they asked if it's okay to be black, that no numbers would look like that at all.
Right. We all know it wouldn't reflect the same, for sure. And you know what? I don't even blame, I'm not looking at the Rasmussen poll being super upset with the Black community. I more of get upset with leftism and all that they've accomplished. They've been working on this for decades. They've been working on this divide for decades. It's this power. It's they need that boogeyman. And if it means tearing apart communities, tearing apart race relations in the United States, Lisa, we've talked about the who was the poll from? Actually, I have it. Where is it? Right here.
Gallup.
From Gallup.
Gallup.
We have right here, Gallup. Would you say relations between white and black people are very good, somewhat good, or somewhat bad, or very bad? And you can see clearly in 2013. Before then, it's kind of an slight upward scale there, and plummeting under Obama.
Yeah, he upped the rhetoric actually in 2014, and then they tested again in 2015, and so that's why you're seeing that sharp decline, and that was because of Obama's rhetoric there.
Yeah.
I forget what the exact thing that happened was, but that was like when he had the summit with the beer. I think that was the beer summit there.
Yeah, I would tend to look at it. I've said this before. I would tend to look at it as being more of like around the Zimmerman kind of case, where like before that it wasn't really. What was that?
Yeah, that's what it was. The Zimmerman thing where he said like my son.
Right.
That was like that he could be my son type of thing. That's when it was. Yeah.
And before that, it was super uncommon for a president to be like inserting themselves into a local issue, specifically around race, because there could be consequences to that, right? But then they saw the weaponization of identity politics, and they just went. they certainly didn't slow down after that. Let's just put it that way. All right, you guys. So last bit right here. Creating disdain for. Okay, last bit right here. Oh, my bad. Two more. All right, bam.
As for what we can do about that, one thing that we can do is move away from identity politics, polarizing the country when it comes to race-based politics. I think that's absolutely unacceptable, and I think it's divisive. That would be my first step.
That's how they stay in power, though. You know what I mean? Their game they playing now on race-based politics is win at any means necessary. If they gotta hurt their own, it's just that they getting so much money now, and then they want to pass it on, and you know they'll never give that up.
It's a lot. It's a good question, but it's
They're
a
not
lot.
gonna give it up though.
Yeah.
Democrats ain't giving that up.
Democrats aren't?
No.
Who does more race-based politics in the United States? Democrats?
Yeah.
He know that politics stuff, so I'm not
Everything
into
was
politics.
racism. Everything, which is not, but to them it is. If you see, most everything for them is racism.
I love that bit right there because he just starts going into it. It was going to be my next question, and he's already leading into the next question, telling me what he sees it as. And I think a lot of people do see it that way as well. And when it comes to guys like this, like, dude, you know, he's probably, honestly, I should have asked him, but he probably is a Democrat. He probably is a Democrat. But he's well aware.
He's
What?
not a Democrat.
You don't-
There's no way after saying all that he's voting Democrat. He may be registered Democrat, but that man is
That's
not
more of
voting
what I
Democrat.
meant. Like he's certainly not passionately a registered Democrat. Like he's not a passionate registered Democrat if he is. I just, from that conversation, that would be my takeaway. I didn't ask him though. So that was a mistake on my part. I should have asked him for sure.
He just says great things. So like he totally gets it. He sees through. He's like out of the matrix.
He's out of the matrix, and those are the people that you can save. When it comes to doing these videos, there's those people that are in the matrix and they can't see any biases or any agendas or anything. This guy's sitting on the outside looking in saying, this is what they're doing, these are the results of what they're doing, and they're just gonna do it anyways. When you can sit on the outside and actually have that objective viewpoint, that's when you can be saved. Those are the people we're looking for. So he was awesome. Last clip right here. We all good? Okay. Last clip right here.
You mentioned that doesn't surprise you primarily because Black Americans would see white Americans as being privileged, and you think that would create some form of disdain towards white people, or whatever word you think would be appropriate to use.
To be honest, I think that's exactly what it is. It's already a disdain there instead of just looking at people as people. I mean, I'm saying it because I'm black and I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? It's honestly, you look, and a lot of people already have this, they didn't grow up with white people or they didn't grow up around, so they just get this stigma and they already think that, yeah, I don't want to be white, or white people are this or white people are that.
In the judgmental area of people and how they live, what they look like, what they believe in, and what they don't believe in, I feel like we've kind of increased in that area. A lot of people feel that they have an opinion towards someone else and how they live or how they are or who they are. But at the end of the day, they're not the judge. God is. And if he's okay with you or I, then why shouldn't we?
All right, everyone, that is it for today. So thankfully,
she crushed it. I like that girl. Her she was so
I
positive.
love her.
She was.
Yep, she's totally right. She touches on a really good point. Like, God is the judge, and we are such a godless society. And people are like, oh, there's other godless societies that like are doing better than we are, but that's not what I mean, right? Like you're comparing apples to apples, and I mean, you're not comparing apples to apples. So like we have nothing that keeps us like as a community. We have nothing that we have in common. Like what happens in New York or in Philadelphia is nothing like what happens where you are in California. You don't have anything to bond us together. And if we don't have something like a virtuous society, or we don't have a set of moral principles that we can all agree on, there is nothing that keeps us connected as a nation. And so, well, if everybody had,
that's a phenomenal point, though. We used to connect under, religion. We used to find that sense of community under religion. A lot of these people, when they bring up, oh, there's other places that are not very religious, and they point to like somewhere like Switzerland, and it's like, well, yeah, but they also have a sense of identity there. We have a complete mixture of identities coming into this country. And yes, they should find that common ground of just being Americans. However, when there's so many different cultures within a country, such as ours, religion used to be that sense of community. And you start to lose that, you lose basically everything.
They have a smaller population, and up until recently, they were way more homogenous than we are, right? Sure. Like way more. So you can't even. It's like taking like half of the Northeast and putting it together as a country and then being like, oh, why do they all get along? Well, at least I can relate way more to people in Maryland and Virginia than I can to people in California and Texas, right?
Yeah.
People always forget about like size and scale, but the only thing that used to bond us were our Christian values. That's what was the binding ties, and they're gone. And so we are a nation that is lawless and falling apart.
And then with this lady right here, I did skip over like her previous conversation, but with this lady right here, she's talking about white privilege and disdain for people with, quote, white privilege. And, you know, the last, like I mentioned, couple decades, they've been hammering that into the minds of the black community and just minorities in the United States, seeing that as the boogeyman to fight, that white privilege boogeyman. And so a lot of it would probably largely explain any result from the Rasmussen poll when it came to that only 53% of black Americans saying that it's okay to be white. It would probably largely explain that because of this hatred for that, oh, they have that privilege, I don't like that. It's not okay to be that then. You know, you cheated, you're ahead because of X, Y, and Z. And this lady's fully admitting it right here. She was talking to me, she was from Texas. And she was telling me, you know, she was saying like, oh, well, there's white privilege and that's a real thing. I go into a workplace and I have tattoos and I look different. I'm like, yeah, but
that's your lifestyle.
Yeah, I know. Doesn't anyone with tattoos look different? Like, you chose to look like this.
Yeah, that was your decision. You know what's really funny? It's such crap that, first of all, they ask all these diversity questions. Now, I just tweeted this out today. There was a father and his daughter was doing a scholarship application, and it said sexuality, and it says LGBT ally, don't want to answer, and like other, right? So you know
wait. When are they asking this?
On a college scholarship application. Like, that's what it said. First of all, it didn't even say straight. It said LGBT. It said LGBT ally, don't want to answer, and other. So you know for a fact already that if somebody checks don't want to answer, that equals bigot, and your stuff is going to the bottom of the pile. Yeah. Especially if you're white, right? So we know that all of these things are happening, and then you're going to accuse us of having privilege? Like, what are you talking about? What on God's green earth are you talking about? Like, it's no. The only people that have privilege are honestly like, it goes trans and African Americans, and then it deteriorates from there. And the people who are last on the list are Christian white males. It's awful.
Well, what do they call it? The oppression Olympics, right? So the more things you can stack up, like the most, you couldn't touch a black trans woman. That person is at the very top of the oppression Olympics, and that person is the most oppressed, and therefore they're literally the most privileged person in the United States because they'll be celebrated by every single person, every single corporation at all times. You know, you have stuff like that where even LGBTQ, some of the most celebrated people on the face of, maybe not the face of the earth, but certainly in the United States and in the West, where you have options like that. You don't even have an option to be straight. You don't even have an option to be this is just standard issue here. You know, so you have to be an LGBTQ ally or bigot. Talk about a way to completely shun those people.
Dude, it's so bad. And you know who's a perfect example of this is like Dylan Mulvaney, right? Like, so Dylan Mulvaney was like, if you're white, even if you're a white gay man, you're still like really low on the totem pole here.
Now
right?
You are. You used to be high. It used to be worth more points, and now it's worth less for sure.
Right. And so now Dylan was like a ridiculous, weird, like you saw he was on The Price is Right. He was on the Ellen Show, totally acting the same way and completely bizarre. He puts a dress on, right? And now he's getting letters from the president. He's interviewing people. He's on fashion shows and doing performances at Radio City Music Hall. It is like the ultimate trump card to be trans.
Okay. The craziest thing actually last night, I was talking to Tim Pool about that. Tim and Ian, we were going over, maybe it was on their after show. We were going over Dylan Mulvaney's history on his TikTok, right? And you would see what the algorithm would pick up and push. And so he did the gay thing, and that ran out of like grift points or whatever you want to call it. And then he started introducing cute animals. Now, I'm straight, but that is a win. It's always a win, right? But that started to plateau, right? So the cute animals, and he did cute animals and gay content, basically. So like he would mix those two, because I guess that was his move. The next grift that he went on, that was the move. And then he started to upgrade, and all of the views, you can see the views are like, okay, he's huge on TikTok now. He's a TikTok star, influencing your children at home, get them off TikTok. You can see the numbers are smaller. And as soon as he put on that dress, and as soon as he started doing all of the trans, he actually started with, I think he did non-binary first, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, and then he jumped over to trans. As soon as he hit trans, the algorithm grabbed it. It takes off, and it is a noticeable difference in views. Millions of views, just compared to hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands or whatever. People go back and watch the old videos, so they still get boosted. But it is a noticeable difference. As soon as he put on that dress, the victimhood points skyrocketed. Absolutely skyrocketed.
Like, and people are too stupid to even know what's really going on. Like, that is, it infuriates me. And the thing is that he's like influencing other people because they see it and they're like, oh, you know what? I want to be cool. I want to be going to the White House. I can look happy like that. Maybe that's the answer to my happiness. And it's all the show, right? And these kids are looking up to him like, oh, I can be happy. And I was weird or strange or like theater, and I can be like him too. And bang. That's what we wind up with, a caricature and a psycho as a woman. It really makes me mad more than anything. But
well, the big focus for me is the people that he's impacting, the thousands of children that he's impacting that are deciding to make a decision, that are influenced by him. He is rich, he's famous, and yes, this will be a catastrophic ending for him. He's going to be very bummed when one day that fame kind of winds down and he's done all these surgeries and cut into his body and whatnot, but he's still gonna have money. You know, the people that I really feel for are the people that are being influenced by him, that are gonna go about those surgeries, that are gonna go about changing their bodies, cutting into their bodies, and they're not gonna be rewarded with fame and money the way he is. You know, he is single-handedly going to be responsible for destroying thousands of lives.
And people are letting him. People are letting, these parents are letting their children watch this stuff. And here's my thing, yes, you're a parent and you're supposed to be in control of your kid, and you're supposed to say no to these transitions and puberty blockers. But a lot of parents don't have a really strong constitution, and they're faced with a doctor saying to them, if you don't do this, your child will kill themselves. They are held hostage to that narrative. And so parents without a strong constitution or single mothers or whatever are like, oh, what am I going to do? Right? That is like the worst thing that you could possibly imagine, is thinking that your child would harm themselves. And it's a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what's going on. It's a lie. And that's the part that do I think there's Munchausen parents? Absolutely. But I do feel bad for the parents that are threatened with the suicide and intimidated by these ridiculous doctors who are suffering from this illness, but they're also treating patients with this illness, and they're treating them not to cure it, but to make them like them so that they can feel accepted and normal, and they don't have to feel weird themselves.
Right.
I think that there should be
they're projecting their issues onto children.
Right. I think that you should not be if you're bipolar, you should not be able to treat bipolar people, right? Or if you're schizophrenic, you should not be able to treat schizophrenic people. If you have gender dysphoria, you should not be able to treat gender dysphoria. You're just all reaffirming each other. I just don't think that that's normal or healthy.
And they get armed by saying oh, well, I mean, if doctors say it's okay, it should be okay. And it's okay, let's just entertain this for a quick second, all right? Because first of all, on the face of that, that's an absurd argument, right? But let's just say, okay, fine, doctors say it's okay. It takes as little as a letter of recommendation for these children to start getting on these hormone blockers, or when it comes to a session for surgical procedures, it takes one session. No,
I actually called. I called and pretended Cincinnati Hospital that my daughter was, and I said that my daughter was 8, and then she had been on puberty blockers, whatever, but she really, really wanted top surgery. I said that she had been on for 6 months, and the lady said, okay, here's the phone number. You call and get a letter, and then you'll have a meeting with so-and-so doctor over Zoom, and then we can proceed. And I have the audio recording. It's kind of like not the best. It's a little choppy, but they wanted me to like fill out this portal and go further into it. And I don't know. I don't feel comfortable. I don't like lying to people. I just didn't like the whole thing. So I let go. But really it was
It's
as
important to
easy
expose
as
though.
I know. It just still makes me uncomfortable. Somebody else can do that.
No, I understand.
So yeah, but it definitely is a very quick process. I mean, this lady basically was like, you can, meet with this one lady. She'll give you a recommendation. The doctor will do a Zoom call, see if your kid's fit. And then we would schedule the surgery. And I was like, what? Savannah Hernandez was in my house when they called me back. And I was like,
well, I went out and did that video with Billboard Chris. We had that 2-part series with those protesters that were advocating for children, surgically changing their bodies and everything. And one of the big arguments that they come up with is like, oh, well, it's, they have to have all these sessions with doctors and it's a big deal. And that's the argument that they use. And it's like, no, man, no, it can be as quick as a letter of rec in one meeting, and that's it. And there's doctors that pride themselves in how easy it is to get done. It's like it's
that's for surgeries.
That's for surgeries. Yeah, for surgeries.
It's easier for hormone blockers for sure. It's easier for hormone blockers and then hormone replacement therapy is easier for those.
Yeah. Yeah, it's horrifying. I mean, they basically want to treat it the same way as like, oh no, you can. I mean, would they ever agree to like a child getting breast implants or even tattoos or lowering the drinking age or cigarettes or anything? It's like all of these things that we're talking about are less damaging than literally cutting out your breasts or going on hormone blockers that after a certain point you miss that puberty. That's it. You no longer have that sexual function when you're an adult. You're making decisions for your future sexual function before you're even sexually active.
There was a mom that just got in trouble. Maybe it was last year or recently for tattooing or letting her 3-year-old get a tattoo because he said he wanted one. And she's like, oh, now like I feel bad or whatever. But like she got in trouble for that. And we have people that are socially transitioning their children at 3.
For sure.
Right? Like you're brainwashing your child into believing something that, I mean,
I would make the argument socially transitioning your child, quote unquote, socially transitioning your child is far more damaging than a tattoo on a child. No joke. Far more damaging. That will stick with them the rest of their life. You are doing damage to their minds for the rest of their life. Tattoo, you might not even be able to see that by the time they grow up, just because it won't even.
You can get them removed. You can get them removed.
And you can get them removed. They're not even permanent.
Not anymore.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
This is wild. I don't want to. We were gonna get your second stream throttled here with all the Transformers talk.
Well, all of this is obviously we're criticizing all this happening in Minecraft and so we're talking about
and I don't mean
video
a
games
word I just said
here.
for you. There you go.
We're talking about video games here, so no, we'll be.
We were
absolutely
joking,
fine.
just like the ladies in the video. We were joking like the ladies in the video.
It's a joke, you guys. Take a joke, you guys. We're gonna be jumping into super chats. So if anyone has any super chats or any comments that they want to talk about, drop a super chat down below. Thank you all for watching the stream. Really appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. Hopefully everyone's having a good time. I'm super open to hearing your guys' feedback. We're thinking about maybe doing these Tuesday, Thursday. And that's kind of the goal. That's what I'm gonna try to stick to. We'll see if I can pull all that off with the street videos, with the other videos that we're dropping and stuff in the studio. But let me know if you guys have any, recommendations or anything that you'd like to see highlighted and stuff. And then also, we'll take a few seconds to see if anyone wants to do super chats and whatnot as well.
It's not just going to be me all the time. James is going to have different people on. So put some names of people in there. Like once he gets into the rhythm or he stopped testing things out, he'll bring some guests in for you. So put guests you'd like to see in there too, because I'll help book them.
Yeah, I think, Lisa, the goal, I just had a template made for 3 and 4 people in the stream. So the way I really want to go about it is maybe getting one person that we, that might be like countering or disagreeing, maybe like a liberal, if I can find somebody like that would want to hop in the stream. And try and make it like that, and then eventually going in person, and probably not doing anything daily, but probably doing a couple times a week, maybe once a week, but I'd like to do 2 times a week.
Yeah, I just think that you know how me, I'm like always trying to pump your show and like
Stella says no, we want Lisa.
Aww.
We want Lisa.
But still, we put in guests that you'd want to hear from too, that you think might be interesting yourself, so we can get a list going. See what give the people what they want, James. Give the people what they want.
The people what they want. All right. Lisa, I think we are going to wrap up the night here.
Okay.
Can you talk more about that? Check out the chat. We got an active chat tonight. This is a lot of fun. Yeah, you guys. Well, thank you so much again for tuning in tonight. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you guys were here to watch. Lisa, where can people find you? Actually, you know what? I thought ahead on this one. I put a link to Lisa's socials down in the description below. So if you guys want to hit that, there is hit the link. If there is Twitter, there is Instagram. And anything else? We haven't made you a YouTube channel yet.
No, my link tree has like all my episodes on it, which you can get in my Twitter bio. And then it also has like the ones I'm doing for those old clips. I do like a couple videos a day on reactions to those I think it's on Facebook and YouTube. But
I'll put your link tree next time. So people
we
can
get it in my OnlyFans for whoever just said that.
Get out of here.
But yeah, it's in my Twitter bio. My link tree is in my Twitter bio if you want to see anything else in my terrible takes or my fat rants. Feel free.
Awesome.
Fat rant was bad.
Lisa, I'll make sure to include that next time. Lisa, we appreciate you joining the stream. We can't drag you every single time into the stream, so we do have to bring more people, but we always want Lisa, don't we, folks? I know everyone is really excited that you're here, so I appreciate you joining once again.
You're the best, my favorite. Thanks everybody in the chat. Best. You guys were awesome. And make sure you like, subscribe, and share James Klug's.
That's my part. Move over. Yeah, you guys. You guys, thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not subscribed already. And then also join that locals community. We have over 500 members. There's exclusive content over there. You don't even need to pay for it. It's for free. It takes just seconds. Hit the link down below, jamesklug.locals.com. You guys, once again, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. Greatly appreciate you. I'll catch you soon.